Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Semiso Patrick, and I'm going to take you through database. We'll talk about the introduction to database, examples of database, styles or types of database, database management system, examples of database management systems, and database objects. Now, when you look at database, database is defined as a structured collection of related records or data on a particular subject that is stored in a computer so that a program can consult it to answer queries. So, when you look at database, in particular, it is more of creating records, which records are always organized in what we call tables. So you have a table which contains the fields as well as the records together with their data types. So it is always a structured collection of related data based on the information that you want to capture. So that is what we call database. Now, when you look at the examples of databases, we have bus or train timetable, we have the filing cabinet, personal address book, the telephone directory, customer lists, membership lists, among others. So there are sometimes when we do apply database and we don't know that we are using database, though sometimes people think that it is only when you sit on a computer that database is applied. So it can be applied in many forms based on the examples I've listed down here. So these are some of the examples that when we are using or when we are applying database, we always use them to deal with the database. Now, let us look at the types of database. When you look at these types, we have the flat file database, that is FFD. These are basically used for simple lists and may have duplication of data, much like a simple record card system. So when you look at the report cards generated, especially in schools, it is one of the example I can give when basing on the flat file database. It has all information for a particular student as a report card when it is generated. Or when you look at a school, it can be possible that all students are organized, all their records, all their information is organized in one table. So a table once created and all the records are compiled in one table, that is a flat file database. Information of all either employees, all students, all is in one table. So that is a flat file database. Then a relational database. This is the most used type of database in microcomputers or in personal computers. And in this type, related data items are stored together in structures called relations or tables. So this means that when you're organizing information, you can organize it in different tables. For example, we can create a table for the male students, all the male employees as different tables. Then you can relate all of those two tables to form what we call a relationship. So that is another type of database called relational database. Let us look at the database management system. Now, some people confuse database and database management system. It is the database management system where we get database. That's why database management system is a collection of software for organizing the information in a database that might contain returns for data input, verification, storage, and retrieval. So information, when it is to be organized in a database, we must have that program which is coming from database management system. All database can also be a set of computer programs that provides a formal user interface to a database while managing the internal database structures on behalf of the users. So it is the program that provides database when managing data in the computer. That's what we call database management system. We have the examples of database management system. Let us not confuse the other examples of database to the examples of database management system. So once you're asked to give examples of database, you give the other ones that we first talked about. Then when you're asked for the examples of database management system, this is a list or some of the examples of those software programs that one can use to design a database. So among them, we have Microsoft Access, which is the common example of database. We have Oracle, which is also an example of database. We have DBase, we have Fox Pro, we have Paradox, we have Foxbase, we have FileMaker Pro, we have Lotus Approach, among others. So these are some of those programs that when one is to deal with the database, you install it on your computer such that you can deal with the database. After these examples, let us now look at some of the objects in database. These objects in database, we have the primary object, or the primary feature, or the primary component of database. We have a table, and a table is a collection of records that contains the same fields. A database may contain one or more tables. So when you create a database, like we talked about the other two types of database, that is a flat file database and a relational database, we can create different tables. For example, in a relational database, we can create more tables basing on the information you're capturing or you're extracting from different areas. So among those objects, or the components of a database, we have a primary object, which is a table. The second object is a query. This is the way of asking questions about the data in your table according to the criteria. So when you create a table, for example, say you're dealing with employees and you wanted to get employees basing on departments, or you want to filter out or to select employees basing on different departments, a query is the object that will answer a question basing on the criteria you need. That's why it is always used to ask questions about your data. Say you want to filter out employees whose gender is female. It is the query that answers that question. Or you wanted to get employees whose age is above a certain age, or employees whose salary is above a certain amount. So it is the query that answers that question. Then when you look at other objects, we have a form. A form is a graphical interface that is used to display and edit data. All forms can be developed from a different table or from a query. Now, for a form, not like a query, all what is to be edited graphically, all what is to be added in the table, we can use a form to add records in the table, but we cannot use a query to add records in the table, because a query only deals with answering questions, but a form, we can use it to edit the data that appears in the table, or we can as well use it to add records, or sometimes we can even perform calculations in it. We can embed in a form graphics and other objects in the form. So it is a graphical interface that is used to display and edit data. Then the last object is a report. A report is an output of data arranged in order you specify. So the order that you specify according to a report is what will be retrieved once you create it. For example, if you create a query for, say, employees whose gender is female, you can as well create a report out of it, and you can print it as a single report. So reports can be used to print data when you create it. There are some performances you can as well add in a report. For example, you can do calculate, or you can perform calculations and display the results according to the formula used in a report. So those are some of the objects, all the components of database. So when you're asked to give some of those components of database, you can talk of the report, you can talk of a form, you can talk of a database table, as well as a query. So let us end there for today. Next time we'll look at the data types in database, and after the data types we'll look at more and more other features in database. Thank you very much, and make sure that you do visit my YouTube channel, Computer Elites Uganda. Subscribe to it, and please don't forget to leave a comment. I welcome every comment as you do post it. Thank you very much. Let us meet again. You remain Semoso Patrick.